Welcome to all of you. I'm glad you're here. My name is Garrison-Brook, and we have been in the middle of a series which is about Agya, Chakra. And today's class was inspired. I was inspired by yesterday's class. So it's going to be a really interesting self-inquiry on the feedback we receive from others and how that lands with us. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Christy. You're driving from Connecticut to Maine. I have never been to Maine. And I'm from upstate New York. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. I've heard the most beautiful, wonderful things about Maine, and I've never been. So yesterday, a lot of you, at least the people who've chimed in so far, and if you're a newbie, please do chime in. We love hearing from our new students. Come to the mat, grab your block. So yesterday, hey John, yesterday we had a student, yesterday's class, and I'm, totally forthright about the fact that I'm probably one of the most talkative yoga teachers here on Insight Timer. And yesterday's class was super talkative because we were talking about self-care and how that lands with us. And one of the students said it was a good flow, but there was too much talk. Feeling the feet rooting down, grounding down here into this moment. Let's take stock. Let's take stock of the body. Shoulders just hang heavy. Palms shine forward, dropping down into your Tadasana. Feel into the feet. Maybe lift the toes, spread the toes, settle the toes down. And just gently, compassionately scan the body. How are you feeling? Connecting to the body. Connecting to the body here. Another breath. And then inhale those arms out and up, reach up, lift up. And if you'd like, take your Hakini overhead and bring it down the midline. Hakini is when we touch all of our fingertips together. Hakini mudra. Okay? Bringing it down the midline to the heart. Okay, this is the third eye mudra, Hakini mudra. And then float those arms out and up. Reach them up. Close the eyes if that's comfortable. Again, fingertips lightly touch overhead. Draw your Hakini down into the heart space. A light pressure, fingertip to fingertip. Inhale those arms up. Reach up. Lift up. Stretch up. And dive down. So, for those of you who have been practicing with me, you know that I'm taking a class with Anand Mehrotra. He is a guru who is he teaches the path to radical self-mastery. Head just hangs heavy, a gentle sway back and forth. And he's been the one who has sparked this whole series. He's been the inspiration because we've been going through chakra by chakra because that's the way the second part of this class is broken down into the chakras. Feeling that head really relax, soften those knees, gently sway. Feel into the body, connect to the body. Inhale, arch up halfway, flat back. Exhale, release. Step that right leg back. So in the wisdom talk for this chakra, the third eye, Anand said something that came to mind yesterday. as we had that conversation yesterday in class. And I'll tell you briefly about what that was in a moment. What Anand says is he says, drop that knee down. Low runner's lunge. He says, some people may adore you. Wonderful. And he said, other people maybe won't adore you. Wonderful. Okay? And, as you think about that, letting those hips just be heavy, and then settle those hips back, toes rise up, breathing into the back of that leg. This is just the typical way that we warm up the legs. Inhale it forward, warming up the hamstrings. How does that feel to say, some people won't adore you? Wonderful. You might be kind of like, It doesn't feel wonderful. You might feel bad. Right? And the thing that inspired this yesterday is, like I said, the right hand comes down, the left hand comes onto the knee, and we twist open to the left. Is one of the students says, your flow was really good, but, and in this instance, my reaction was a reaction, and I'm not always good this way, but my reaction was like, that's okay. That's okay. Curl those back toes under and come on up into your high runner's lunge, twisting to the left. Another breath, and maybe float that arm up. Because this is my style of teaching, and it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine. Float that left hand down, and I get it. We show up in the world, ground the hands, needing certain things. And for this student, she might have been like, I really just need to drop into silence. I have so much noise in my life. I do not need a yoga teacher who talks and talks and talks. Right? And that's valid. There's nothing wrong with her reaction. There's nothing wrong with that. It means I'm not the teacher for her. Glide forward. So this isn't about her reaction to me. It's about my reaction to that feedback. Breathing here and plank. So very often what happens, right? And this is the self-inquiry for this class. When we get feedback that, you talk too much, or you're too demanding, or whatever it is, what is our response? Drop the knees down and come back into our puppy dog stretch. Breathing here. Breathing here. Pressing those hands in. And then plug those hands in. Curl the toes. Lift the hips. Down dog. Because often, this is, and I've been thinking since, class yesterday, I've been thinking about, Anand's comment. Some people will adore you. Wonderful. And, others won't adore you. Wonderful. Okay? Step the right foot forward. Framing the foot. Because ultimately, this chakra, Ajna chakra, it's the chakra of unification. Pouring energy down that left leg. Okay? Drop that knee. Low runner's lunge. Hands frame the foot. Allow the hips to release down. And set those hips back.
toes rise up. So let's say with, this student's feedback of, you talk too much, that my response was, oh, well, I should talk less, right? I should talk less. But then here I am teaching to many. On average, I usually have around, 150 or so students. I'd say that's my average number. And then the feedback could be, Laura, you're not talking enough. We like it when you talk to you. Many of you yesterday said that. You said exactly that. We really like it when you talk to us. Which is brilliant, and I'm glad. Exhale it back again, toes rise up, folding over that leg. But you can see how you can start chasing, this student says I'm talking too much, that student says I'm not talking enough. And you start kind of spinning, right? Spinning your wheels, coming forward. And then coming up, right hand on that right knee, left hand on the mat, and twist it open. And breathe. And you start chasing, what is okay. So incredibly normal. Curl the back toes under, bring that knee up. And I was thinking more about why we try to please others. What's at the heart of it? And I think that there are two key things. Another breath, maybe bring that arm up overhead. Is one, they've done a lot of studies. Bring that hand down. Ground the hands. Step that right foot back. Down dog. They've done a lot of studies that have shown that we're inherently social creatures, and this is deeply wired into our brains. It's a survival mechanism. We're pack animals because we're most likely to survive when we're bonded to others. Glide forward. So this desire to connect, to be socially liked, is so incredibly, foundational to who we are as human beings. So there's nothing wrong with this. It doesn't mean that we have a weak sense of self-esteem or any of those mean things we can say to ourselves. Breathing here in our plank. Breathe, 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 breathe. Feel the heat in the belly. Drop the knees. Set the hips back. Press the hands down. Okay? So let's let go of any judgment that we might have around this desire to be liked. And I think the other thing, plug the hands in, and Anand talks about this a lot, is that the lower mind, that's the way that he describes it, the egoic mind. Lift the tailbone up, the head hangs heavy. Breathing here in your down dog. Feels very isolated. This individual sense of self feels very isolated. And by its very virtue, float the right leg back. Reach it up, lift it up. That makes us anxious. Breathe here, roll the foot on the ankle. And if you don't love three-legged dog, no worries. Leave your foot down and just lift that tailbone up and just breathe into your dog. Another breath. Step that foot forward. Coming into your hero one, take your time, set your feet, float it up. Virabhadrasana 1. So this anxiety of being, this individual egoic self, right? We want to connect with others so we don't feel so alone, right? So I think those are the two really big reasons that we just have this innate desire to please others. There's nothing wrong with that. Breathing here. Float those hands back. And if you'd like, try clasping the hands behind the heart. Lift in here into your Virabhadrasana 3. Another breath. And then release the clasp if you took it. Hands come down. Float that leg up. And then bend that knee and bring the left knee behind the right, coming into your Jiva squat. Okay? And then float back up, standing split. And then sit it back. Jiva squat, breathing into the strength of the leg. Float it up. Squat down. And then float it up and step it back. Vira 3. So we've kind of laid the foundation, right? This tension that can arise within us. And when we brush up against this feedback, it can put us into quite a tailspin, right? Straighten that leg. And again, your choice. We're going to go into pyramid pose. So feet are hip width apart. Soften that front knee. Your choice if you want to clasp your hands behind you and open the heart. Chin in towards the chest. Really stretch it out. Breathing here. Okay? And then we're going to fold forward. Or you can take reverse Anjali Mudra. Hands behind the heart space and fold over here. Or you can just take traditional pyramid pose, which is maybe when you bring your hands onto blocks. The blocks can be high. Listen to the body. Listen to the body. What speaks to you? Keep the eyes open. A little bit of balance here. Breathing. Another breath. And bend that front leg. And come on up. Virabhadrasana 1. And hands either side of the foot. Come on down. So the self-inquiry is when you brush up against someone who kind of gives you the feedback of, I'm not loving you. What's your response? Where do you go? What happens? Because bringing mindfulness to that experience is a powerful, powerful, powerful first step. Another breath here in your down dog. And your choice if you want to come down into child's pose, rest in down dog, or flow through a vinyasa. Coming into plank. Come on down to your knees. And Ashtanga Pranam, butts up through the air. Ground the hips, hands under shoulders. Hello, Alan. Hello, Jane. And Jane says, I love this class because of the things you say. And Jane, that's beautiful. Just like Anand says, right? Some people will adore you. Wonderful. Coming up into Bhujangasana. Some people won't adore you. Wonderful. So how can we get there? And for those who were with me yesterday, when this student said, you talk too much, my response was, I get it. I totally get it. And there was honestly, and I can tell you from the inside, that was not a facade. That was not a facade. It didn't bother me. Come on up onto the knees. Plug the hands in. It didn't shake me, right? And that's the sweet spot. If we can get there, because as I shared with you all yesterday, this, for me, the reason that I keep showing up time and again is this is so incredibly good for my personal development Tailbone rises up and the head hangs heavy here and down dog. This is the teacher that I'm meant to be. And for those of you who get value from it, beautiful, wonderful. And for those of you who don't, I lovingly send you, on your way to find a different teacher that suits you better. And I get it, that's fine. That doesn't mean that the way I'm teaching is wrong. It just might not be right for you. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. Float that left leg back and up. Stretch it up and roll the foot. But if we try to race around in life, always pleasing others, it literally is going to jerk us all over the place. And that's going to stress the heck out of us. And that's not good. Stretch it up. Step that left foot forward. Take your time, set your feet, and float it up. So how can we get? Inhale those arms up into your Warrior One, taking Hakini Mudra overhead if you'd like. Breathing here. And then bringing the hands back, behind the back, taking your clasp. Open the heart. So how can we ground down where we're okay with this feedback of, you know what, Laura? You're not right for me. You're not right for me. And we can just kind of be like, okay, wonderful. That's okay. Because that's what we need. We need to be in a place, another breath. Step it back. And float those arms up. Breathing here in your Virabhadrasana 1. We need to be in that place where, we become more and more grounded with who we are. And that external feedback doesn't knock us off our foundation. Breathing here. Another breath. And then stepping off. Stretching forward, coming down into our standing split. Breathing here. And then coming into our Jiva squat, bending that left knee, right knee snuggles down underneath it. And float it up, standing split. And come on down. Exhaling. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. One more. Exhale down. And then inhale it up. Step it back. Virabhadrasana 1. Hakini Mudra overhead if you'd like. Set the feet. Long edges of the feet parallel to long edges of the mat. Feet are hip width apart. Soften the left knee just a squidge. Okay? And then again, your choice. Do you want to take your Yoga Mudra and fold over in Yoga Mudra? Do you want to take your reverse Anjali Mudra, reverse prayer, the back heart? Or do you want to come down into traditional pyramid? Listen to the body. Eyes are open. If you have your arms up, it's going to be a little bit more balance. So find your focus, your drishti, your gaze. Breathing here. Another breath. And then float on up. And come on up. And as you start to explore this whole thing of brushing up against people who maybe aren't loving you or aren't loving what you're doing, hands come down either side of the foot. I invite invite you to start a meditative practice around this. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that might look like. Breathing here. Tailbone rises up, head hangs heavy. Again, your choice. Do you want to come into child's pose? Do you want to rest in down dog? Or do you want to flow? Coming forward into plank. Come on down, knees just chin. Ground the hips. Hands under shoulders. Inhale, lift it up. Bhujangasana. Exhale down. Inhale it up. Cobra pose. And exhale it down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, come on to the knees. Come on back. Anahatasana. Puppy dog stretch. And then curl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Head hangs heavy. Roll your head back and forth. And let's all come down into child's pose. Hey Shari, it is Agya. It is the 6th. We're still in the 6th chakra. So in your child's pose, you can stack fist on fist. You can put your block underneath your forehead. So really melt down the third eye. So yes, this series has all been about unity, integration. And when we talk about this whole thing of, being true to yourself, rooting down into who you are, even if not everyone loves that experience, that expression of you, that's integration. That's your unity with Atman, your true self. Another breath. And that's what lives at the Ajna Chakra. Curl the toes, lift the hips, come on up, down dog. Tailbone rises up and the head hangs heavy. Roll the head on the neck. So yep, we're in the 6th chakra right now. And I've spoken to y'all about, when the 6th chakra, I actually used language yesterday, float that right leg back and up if you like your 3-legged dog. If not, just step your foot forward, coming into your Vira 1. Float it up. I was talking about the 6th chakra being aligned or in balance, and that's actually a bit of a misnomer. I shouldn't have used exactly that language. Stepping off onto that right foot, coming into our Vrikshasana, our tree pose. So the right foot is grounded down, our left leg goes out to the left. And remember, it can be here, it can be here. The only place we don't want it is on the side of the knee. Okay? So really feel yourself grounding the right foot down. Soften the knee a little bit. And then bring the sole of the foot in, hands at the heart space. And really root down. So with the 6th chakra, the element is either described as consciousness. I've seen the element being described as light. And I've also seen it being described as beyond the 5 senses. Kind of depends on the source. There's some different opinions. But we're getting really, really, really subtle, very refined. Another breath. If you'd like, you can bring your Hakini Mudra together over the head, in your tree. Fingertips lightly touch. Another breath. And then step it back into your Virabhadrasana 1. Open the heart. And again, let's take our Yoga Mudra. Clasping the hands, roll the shoulders down. Open the heart. Open the throat. Breathing here. Another breath. And then again, step off onto that right foot, coming into our Vira 3. Hands clasped behind us if that suits you, if that works for you. Another breath. Arms can also be out like airplane wings. Inhale it up. And hands either side of the foot. Come on down. Ground the hands. Step it back. Walk it out. So my invitation for you is when you brush up against someone who gives you feedback, like, you're a little too talkative, or, gee, is that the way we dress, or whatever it is. I invite you to start using a meditative practice. Flip that left leg back and up, stretch it up. And just start witnessing your reaction. And there's a really critical way of doing this, an important way of doing this. Because this isn't about like, can you believe she said that? Or, I'm going to give her a piece of my mind. That's not what we mean. That's not going to be helpful. Because that's the treadmill that we often get in, right? Bringing yourself into your Virabhadrasana 1, Bikini Mudra overhead. Instead, what I invite you to do is say, I can feel my thoughts starting to race. I'm noticing that I'm grinding my teeth. I feel like, my neck might be getting really tight. I'm starting to, justify, why this is okay, So you're witnessing your response. Stepping off onto the left foot, bringing the hands into Yoga Mudra, and noticing, y'all, this is the third day in a row where my left side has been wonky from a balance standpoint. Noticing if balance is different from one side to the other. Another breath. Step it back. Inhale it up. Right? And step off into your Vrikshasana. Remembering your Vrikshasana can go anywhere but the side of the knee. Grounding that foot, pressing the foot into the leg and the leg into the foot, and bring your Hakini overhead if you'd like. And you might notice, as you do this meditation, you might start noticing a pattern. Physically how you respond, mentally what you say. And this kind of awareness is really powerful. Another breath. Because it means we're not on autopilot. It means that we become the driver instead of the passenger. Arms reach up, stretch up, hands come down, either side of the foot. Head hangs heavy, tailbone rises up. Another breath. Dropping down. And then widen the knees, touch the toes. Come on back. Forehead down onto the mat. And just settle into your child's pose, closing the eyes, going inside. And checking in again. What is your relationship with feedback from others? Another breath. And then press yourself up. And come on to the back body. And grab your block, if you have one. Because we'll do our traditional close of practice, Supta Pada Bhustasana. And as I've shared with you quite a few times, This is the most powerful flow for the health of the low back. So if you have any low back issues, this is your flow. So swim those knees around, just massaging the lower back. If you have a strap, I invite you to grab it now. Extend the left leg long. Hug the right knee in. Breathing here, shoulders are down. And then switch legs. Let's do a little bit of core before we go into our Supta Padangusthasana. Switching legs again. You're like, what? I was laid down. This is like a bait and switch. So bringing the left leg along the earth, floating high, right leg comes up. And then we exhale and we lightly walk our hands up our leg. And then we inhale it down. Exhale it up. Inhale it down. So maybe you're reaching all the way up to the ankle bone. Or maybe not. Listen to your body. Do what works for you. Let's do one more. We exhale as we walk our hands up, and we inhale it down. And then we bring the knees into the chest and we rock it out. And now our right leg floats above the earth. Our left leg extends overhead. And then we exhale the hands up and we inhale them down. Almost as if we're kind of like mountain climbers. We're climbing our leg. And we're inhaling it down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Let's do 3 more. I'm getting hot. Inhale down. 2 more. Last one. And come on down. Whew. Maybe roll the head as well. Hug those knees in. Roll the feet. Soles of the feet on the earth. Windshield wiper the knees to the right as you look to the left. Inhale it up. Exhale other way. Inhale lift. Extend that left leg long. If you have a tweaky low back, you can also bring the sole of the foot onto the earth, whichever one speaks to you. Okay? And then the right leg goes up, stretches up. Whew. And we draw that right leg in. Now, if you have a strap, this is where it can be really helpful to have the strap around the ball of the foot. And we draw that leg in, holding onto the strap. So maybe if you don't have a strap, you're holding onto the back of the thigh, you're holding onto the calf. If your hamstrings are pretty open, you can take your peace fingers and hold onto the big toe. Breathing here. This is Supta Padangusthasana. The health of the low back originates in the hamstrings. This is all about lengthening, opening the hamstrings. Nice big belly breath. Exhale it out. Just allow yourself to drop down. Letting go of any extraneous thoughts. Another breath. Into the belly. And then let that right leg drop open to the right. And maybe you've got a block that you can reach, and you kickstand this leg with the block. Maybe you do that. Maybe that feels good. I have this handy dandy wall, which is awesome too. So we're obviously breathing into the inner thigh. Okay? And if you have your leg kickstand run your hand up and down that leg, just spreading lots of love, lots of kindness, compassion, gratitude on this leg. Love, loving this leg just as it is in all of its beauty, in all of its service to you. Another breath. And then flip that leg up. Draw the leg in. And then take the twist of your choice. Scooch the hips a little bit to the right and drop the knee down to the left. Looking over the right arm. Breathing here. Whatever your twist looks like. It could be knee on knee. It could be I've got my foot on my knee. If you have a strap, you could extend your leg long with the strap in your left hand. That's the deepest of the twists. You can also kind of do a wrap, where you wrap your legs around, kind of like an eagle legs. It's up to you. Listen to the body. And then float the leg up overhead. Scan the neck, chin down towards the chest. Draw that leg in for another breath. And then drop the strap, drop the leg, and extend it nice and slow. Bringing that leg down. Hands, palms down on the belly. Feeling the length, feeling the openness, just melting down onto this lengthened right side of the body. Luxuriating in how you've opened up the body in this way. Another breath. And then straighten out the spine as necessary. Stretch out that right leg and float the left leg up overhead. And again, I always, as many years as I've been doing this, I always have to check in with the neck. I do these really weird things. Like I jut my chin up like I'm fish out of water. So roll the shoulders up and then settle the back heart down so the back heart's nice and flat. Snuggle the chin down towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. And breathe into those hamstrings. Remembering that if this is at all tweaky on the lower back, the sole of the right foot can be on the earth, bent, knee bent like this, okay? Keep breathing into those hamstrings. We didn't roll the foot on the other side, but let's do it on this side. Just bringing a bit of synovial fluid, a bit of movement into that ankle and reverse directions. Snuggle the leg in. If you want to roll the other foot, you can kind of float the right leg up and roll the foot, since we didn't do that on the other side. And then settle that right leg back down. Hug that left knee in. Hug that left leg in, I should say. Keeping the leg nice and long and straight. And again, your block. Grabbing your block and using it to kickstand your leg. So if your leg is super tight, you might want to have it be at the greatest height and keep it close to the leg. See, and you can like kind of angle it. You see how I've angled it so it's comfortable on the thigh and it's supporting the leg. Okay, you can do that. You can also bring it farther out if you're more open. Play with it so you figure out what speaks to you, what serves you. Remembering, we've been talking a lot about having your yoga practice be more and more intuitive. You know, I've read that article, which I shared in Circle a week or 2 weeks ago, which talked about how experiencing Shakti rising, the experience of Kundalini. Kundalini is when we have this incredible energetic experience where energy rises up from the pelvis, lights all the chakras up. It's very powerful. I've experienced it once. And we don't experience it very often in the Western world. And one of the people quoted in the article said that that's because yoga is all about releasing energetic blocks in the body. Bring that leg up overhead, draw it in, and then take your twist, whatever your twist looks like. Scooch your hips a squidge to the left, and come on down. So, you know, and I've been thinking about that a lot, and what really, really, really continues to occur to me is that our Western experience of yoga, we're doing yoga from the outside in, meaning that we're thinking about how the pose looks. You know, what do I look like? You know, do I look like the teacher? Do I look like what the pose is supposed to look like? Rather than doing yoga from the inside out. It doesn't matter what the pose looks like. What matters is how the pose feels. How does the pose make you feel? Right? And that's where you need to really continually go inside and connect deeply with the body. Another breath. And float that leg up overhead. Again, sending lots of love, lots of kindness, lots of compassion to this left leg that has served you so faithfully. Another breath. And then extend that left leg long. Close the eyes and ask yourself, am I ready for Shavasana? Or is there anything remaining that this body is craving, that this body is asking for? And if there is a yes, go ahead and do that now. And otherwise, just allow yourself to melt down into your Shavasana. Whatever your Shavasana looks like. If this traditional Shavasana works for your body, that's beautiful. Palms are up, feet flop open, the back body is flat on the earth. If this doesn't suit or serve your body, then change it. Lay on your side. Put legs up the wall. Whatever speaks to you, listen to the body. Nurture the body. Close the eyes. And drop down into Shunya, which is a deep, restorative silence. So the poem today is from Dana, and Dana writes, Metamorphosis is the title of the poem. And she writes, called beyond the confines of this chrysalis by a force I cannot see or name, I am compelled by pain and something bigger than myself to leave the protection of all that I have known. There is struggle, doubt, and awkward setting forth. Finally, I break free of the cocoon and find myself surrounded by air and light. I dare to act, still not knowing what I am. Instinct, or maybe faith, bids me move forward, make the leap, explore this mystery of change and flight. I find myself with wings that dwarf my former world. Unfurled, they dry quickly in the sun. I, who expected to spend my days crawling, now teach myself to soar. Such a rush of wind and freedom. That first flight teaches me more than I had learned in a lifetime of crawling. Breathing here. Bringing movement back to the body, whatever that movement looks like. Listening to the body, letting the body intuitively move itself. Keeping the eyes closed. Rolling over onto the right side, cradling the heart. And wrapping the arms around yourself. Rock it out. Giving yourself the biggest hug, sending yourself so much love. Breathing into this sense that the feedback that matters most in life, the feedback always, always, always to listen to is the feedback from your own soul. That's the feedback to hear. Carefully pressing yourself up into an easy seat. Bringing the hands together at the heart space, maybe gently rubbing the palms. And then migrating our Anjali Mudra up to the third eye. The thumbs lightly press right in the middle of the forehead, feeling that connection with Agya Chakra. Nice big inhale, and we'll Om.